Welcome back to Internet Court. Today's case divided Reddit faster than almost any relationship story this month. One simple question tore a relationship apart. Is it a boundary or is it control? Court is now in session. The defendant in today's case is a man in his late 20s. He'd been dating his girlfriend for just over 2 years. From the outside, their relationship looked solid. They shared an apartment. They talked about marriage. Friends described them as locked in. But there was one issue that never went away. Her best friend. Not an ex, not a coworker, not a stranger. Her best friend. They'd known each other since college, texted daily, spent weekends together, and according to the boyfriend, crossed lines. At first, he told himself he was overthinking it. The late-night texts, the inside jokes he wasn't part of, the way she'd light up when that name popped up on her phone. He didn't want to be that guy. The insecure boyfriend. The jealous stereotype. So he stayed quiet. But silence doesn't erase discomfort. It just lets it grow. The first crack appeared at a birthday party. The girlfriend disappeared for nearly an hour. When he finally found her, she was outside, laughing, sharing a drink, just the two of them. Nothing explicitly wrong, but something felt off. When he mentioned it later, she brushed it aside. "We're just friends. You're reading into it." And that sentence stayed with him. Over the next few months, the pattern continued. Plans canceled last minute, private jokes he didn't understand, defensive reactions whenever he asked questions. Eventually, he stopped asking, until one night, he didn't. They were sitting in their living room, no yelling, no accusations, just one question. "If I asked you to set boundaries with him, would you?" The room went quiet. She didn't answer right away, and that pause told him everything. Finally, she said it. "I'm not cutting him off for you." He tried to clarify, not cutting off, just boundaries. Less late-night texting, more transparency. Her response? "You don't get to control my friendships." That's when he said the sentence that would end up on Reddit, "Then I don't know if I can stay in this relationship." And that's the moment Reddit focused on. Was this a reasonable boundary or an ultimatum disguised as concern? So he turned to Reddit and asked, "Did I cross a line asking my girlfriend to choose?" The comment section exploded. One side didn't hesitate. "You don't get to dictate who your partner is friends with. That's controlling." Others pushed back just as hard. Boundaries aren't control. Ignoring your partner's discomfort is disrespect. And then came the gray area takes. Some commenters saw fault on both sides. "You waited too long to speak up." "She dismissed your feelings instead of addressing them." "This relationship was already broken. You just named it." That comment gained traction because it reframed the entire case. As Reddit dug deeper, the story stopped being about the best friend. It became about something else entirely, trust, or the lack of it. Jurors asked, why was she so defensive? Why were boundaries treated like threats? Why did he feel like a third wheel in his own relationship? One comment stood out. If asking for reassurance ends the relationship, it wasn't secure to begin with. That comment changed the tone. A few days later, the original poster returned with an update. Not a dramatic post, just a quiet follow-up. She chose, not in words, in actions. She stayed at her friend's place for space. Then came fewer texts, then silence. A week later, she ended it. She said she felt pressured. He felt relieved. In hindsight, he admitted something important. He wasn't angry she chose her friend. He was hurt that she never chose the relationship. But the case didn't stop when the relationship ended. Because once Reddit weighed in, jurors didn't just debate him or her, they debated something much harder to define. What does a healthy boundary actually look like? One of the most upvoted comments didn't attack either person. Instead, it said, "This isn't about choosing a friend over a partner. It's about choosing avoidance over communication." That comment sparked a second wave of discussion. Jurors began sharing their own experiences, stories about relationships where discomfort was ignored, where concerns were brushed off as insecurity, where silence slowly replaced honesty, and many admitted something uncomfortable. They had been on both sides of this situation. Reddit began asking questions the original poster never did. Why did he wait so long to speak up? Why did she react so strongly to the idea of boundaries? Why did both of them assume the worst instead of clarifying expectations? One juror wrote, "Boundaries spoken too late sound like ultimatums, even when they aren't." That comment shifted the tone again. Several jurors pointed out a key issue. This conversation didn't happen early in the relationship. It happened after years of patterns forming, after habits were cemented, after expectations were assumed, not discussed. And Reddit agreed on one thing. By the time the question was asked, the answer was already decided. In a later comment, the man admitted something quietly. He said he wasn't proud of how the conversation unfolded. Not because he was wrong to feel uncomfortable, but because he waited until he felt cornered. And when people speak from that place, their words come out sharper than intended. Jurors then turn their attention to the friend, not to accuse, but to analyze. Was the friendship inappropriate or simply unmanaged? Reddit couldn't agree. Some believed emotional intimacy had crossed a line. Others argued the problem wasn't the friend at all. It was the absence of reassurance in the relationship. One highly upvoted hypothetical asked, what if he'd voiced this a year earlier, before resentment set in? That question lingered, because many jurors realized something painful. Timing can matter as much as truth. Months after the breakup, the original poster reflected again. He said the relationship ending forced him to change how he communicates. Now, when something feels off, he speaks early, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it risks conflict, because he learned the cost of waiting. Reddit's final consensus wasn't loud. It was quiet, measured, and surprisingly compassionate. No villains here, just two people who needed different things and found out too late. That became the unofficial verdict. So jurors, before we adjourn, ask yourself this. If something in your relationship didn't sit right, would you speak up early? Or would you wait until silence did the damage for you? Court is adjourned. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, be sure to hit like and subscribe.